Today I will be explaining the Bronze Age collapse. Keep in mind, scholars can never come up with an agreed theory. These borders and events could be completely off or perfectly right. Please do not take this video as the complete correct story. You should do your own research, make up your own theories with supported evidence, and watch other YouTube videos. The Bronze Age is the period in which the first long-range trade, battles, and empires appear. As is obvious with the name, this period had a lot to do with bronze. Bronze was the backbone of the economies, militaries, and religion. It was a huge improvement from copper and stone before it. As some of the first political bodies in the world, they were simple yet complex at the same time. Everything relied on each other, which may sound complex, but this means if one part was removed, then the system would not work. I will now go over the great nations of the Bronze Age. First are the Mycenaeans. They aren't the first Greeks, that would be the Minoans. But they still have conquered the sea. They are the Greeks in the Iliad and Odyssey. We will be talking about these books later. Next is the Hittites. They are a warlike people, descended from Indo-Europeans. The copper-rich island of Cyprus is their client state. The Hittite Empire is a friendly rival with the Egyptian New Kingdom. They even refer to each other as brothers in the Eternal Treaty, also known as the Silver Treaty. The Egyptians are the most powerful and wealthy of people at this time. Their borders are most debated. Many believe they extended down to Ethiopia, but many others agree they stopped at gold-rich Kush, modern-day northern Sudan. The Nile gave Egypt an abundance of food. This surplus gave Egypt the ability of a strong military. The Assyrians were a rising power, seeking western ports for trade. They were the first to develop iron weapons. After the Bronze Age collapse, they will be the only ones to recover. I forgot to map it, but Assyria did briefly control Babylonia, the land to the south, before the Bronze Age collapse. There were many causes for the Bronze Age collapse. I will try to explain them all. Our story starts in Northern Europe. Some sort of environmental emergency causes famine and people to move. This likely caused the people of far southern Europe to be pushed out of their homes. The best example you can get is Greece. As I said before, these are the Greeks of the Iliad and Odyssey. So, after being on a long war with Troy, you could imagine their military not being in a very good shape. So when the Darians came a year later, Greece could not hold back the invaders, especially since the Darians are the ancestors of the Spartans and Macedonians, the strongest of the later classical and Iron Age Greeks. The Spartans did know they were foreigners, and Macedonians were seen as half-barbarian. This invasion caused many Mycenaeans to flee away on their ships to find new homes. You could argue the Odyssey is an extremely corrupted account of this. Odysseus may have been a raider to the west, but oral tradition made Odysseus into a hero. The Mycenaeans, along with other southern Europeans, become the Sea Peoples. They first take Cyprus, then the surrounding coastline of the Hittites and Egyptians. In the city of Ugarit, we find a tablet with text on it. It was a response to Cyprus's cry for help.
My father, behold, the enemy's ships came. My cities were burned, and they did evil in my country. All my troops and chariots are stationed in the city of Hutti, and all my ships are stationed in the land of Lucca. The country is abandoned to itself. May my father be aware of this matter. Now the 7 ships of the enemy have done harm to us. Our food in the threshing floors was burnt, and the vineyards were also destroyed. Our city is sacked. May you know it. May you know it.
The Bronze Age world's military was reliant on 2 things. They were bronze and the chariots. Both of these things had problems. Bronze was made out of 9-part copper and 1 part tin. Everyone had copper. Cyprus had the most copper. But now, as you can see, if you order copper from Cyprus, your Amazon package is going to be late due to the Sea Peoples. And then there's tin. Where is it? The Hittites had some, but not enough to support the whole Bronze Age world. So if you want tin, you're going to get most of it from the island of Britain, It was already dangerous for merchants to go there, but now with the Sea Peoples it was impossible. Without a stable supply of bronze, the Bronze Age world will weaken. Next problem was chariots. The chariot was stronger, faster, and longer range than any type of troop at the time, but it was expensive. It takes many years of training for someone to use a chariot. Losing a single chariot would be catastrophic. Despite all the chariot's overpowered abilities, it was no match for a simple tactic of attacking from 3 directions. After destroying the Hittites, Cyprus, and the Levant, the Sea People attacked Egypt. Meanwhile, the Libyans invaded from the west.
In their islands, all at once the lands were removed and scattered in the fray. No land could stand before their arms. They were coming forward toward Egypt. Their confederation was the Lukka, Denyen, Shekelesh, Shardana, Ekwesh, Teresh, and Peleset lands united.
Assyria and Egypt would be the only major powers to survive the Bronze Age collapse, but Assyria alone would rise again, ending the Bronze Age. In the end, the Bronze Age collapse is the biggest event in human history. Due to, if one guy died during this time, then his 10,000 of his potential descendants today wouldn't exist. Overall, the Bronze Age collapse would affect all religions, militaries, political bodies, cultures, ethnicities, technology, and philosophy in the West that came after it.